Hey guys, you're listening to the Energy of the Untamed Heart podcast, where we talk about uncaging your divinely gifted wild heart to be as free and expansive as you were born to be. My goal is to use our stories, guest interviews, and your questions to tease out what has been keeping your wild heart under wraps. I'm your host, Mielle Fox, and together we will shatter the myths of our old stories to set our wild heart free. So thanks for choosing you and showing up. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another guest episode here on Energy of the Untamed Heart podcast. I'm really excited today. So today, my guest is Hillary Wolfe. I think this is funny. Get it? Fox, Wolf. Yep. Here we are, the K-Nids doing the thing.
Love it.
So my guest today is Hillary. She is a master Reiki, both teacher and provider, practitioner, and offers intuitive coaching. Her goal is to really help our group demographic of gals who are feeling like, okay, what's next for me? Like, I've done the thing, I've been the good wife, I've been the good mama, I've achieved all the certifications and the this and the that, and I've worked my 30 years in my career or whatever the thing may be. And so now what? So the beauty of Hillary is that she brings a really diverse background in science through biochemistry and physiology, as well as the spiritual side of the world through the energetics in our centers within our being called our chakras, which I won't spill the beans. I'll let her do that. And we're just going to have a little chat. We're just going to talk. So here we go. Hillary, welcome to the show.
Woohoo. Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's basically like hanging out with a little cappuccino and just doing the thing. And basically,
Right.
I just love to dig in and really hear how people navigate the challenges to have brought them forward to where they are,
Mhm.
and how have they seen their journey as a means of walking home to the heart, the thing that really fills them with passion and
Love that.
joy. So give us a little bit of the deets. How'd you get here?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's been kind of a long journey, it feels like, but I started out as a personal trainer, as a physical coach, so a physical fitness coach. I used to train individual clients, and I was also a high school cross country coach, and that just loved both of those, but was also going through a somewhat toxic, not so great marriage, and ultimately became a single mom and needed to also moved here to Colorado. And so needed to find something where the market wasn't so saturated, so I could just hit the ground running and take care of my two very little girls at the time. And so I kind of put the training away, the I don't know, the coaching, the training, the working for myself away, and just went into the medical health industry, just kind of as an HR person, because apparently I can communicate kind of okay with people. and and got to that point that you were just describing, where what is this? What There's got to be more to it than this. This is not fun for me. I'm barely making ends meet with my kiddos, and I feel like I can't take care of them the way I want to, and I'm not filling my own cup. So what's next? What else is there? And then just kind of started my own journey, a very similar journey that I see other clients kind of navigating for themselves. And so it's kind of fun to see what I went through in their journey, knowing that the really fun stuff is at the end. But basically got into essential oils, started to look at the energetics of essential oils, and then looking beyond that, what are energetics? What are the energetics of emotions? How does all of this energy play into my big huge question, what's next? And so then really started to play with Reiki and universal laws, and then also remembered, oh wait, I've done coaching before, I can do this. What if I can take the nitty-gritty energetic piece and really start to create a toolbox for other people so that they can also see what's next for them. So that's kind of how I got here, and have basically, I like to call my form of coaching make your own magic coaching, and was really just drawn to the idea that we get to almost use ourselves as magic wands or tap into our superpower. It just felt so, I don't know, magical, sparkly and rainbowy. And that's what I wanted my next chapter to look like. So I really gravitated towards the idea of what can we do to make every moment feel like we just waved a magic wand and brought everything that we wanted into our space for ourselves. What would that look like? So that's kind of how I got here. And I feel like I've been building that, I've been doing that, and it's been a total blast.
It's really good. Isn't it good that when what you do isn't just the grind, it feels fun. You wake up like, "Wow, I
Yes.
can't wait to see what might show up today." And I wanna remind the listeners, sometimes when we say, "Can't wait to see what will show up today," it doesn't necessarily mean every single day is gonna be a rainbow and sparkles. Sometimes it's a little bit
Right.
bumpy, but the beauty of what I think one learns through really tapping into your deepest being, who you really are without all the extra wrappers that we think we need to put on ourselves, is it gives you the power to navigate even the hard days, to know that there is still joy within the hard. There is still joy even though every day doesn't look perfect. And then you said it yourself, I really want to be able to show women that if they can just stick with it and really continue that personal journey, that what is available when you come through the hard stuff is so magically beautiful. And it really, really is. And I
Yes.
love that you said this, because I think a lot of clients who hire coaches or healers or therapists or whatever, they're almost in it thinking, okay, here's my band-aid patch. I'm going to solve this problem that I have in this moment. And all of a sudden, my world will be taken care of, or I will deal with this one emotional piece of my world and the rest will just be amazing. And the reality is, not only is it kind of
Mhm.
like a return trip, sort of like, oh, you got to come through the drive-through again. It's a return trip every
Right.
time that you bump up against the edge of your growth. It just shows up in a different way. And so I think what you're able to offer your clients through really understanding that we all have our own magic. It's all unique to each one of
Yes.
us, and we
Yep.
tap into it through different pathways. And so I think for me, I also want to say really clearly to listeners is, and I've had a lot of guests on this show, and everybody comes through in slightly different ways, is there is no individual who is going to be your one and only as far as who will coach, who will help, who will heal. You may,
Right.
as a client, spend some time with one individual, and then you may require assistance in a different direction or a different way, and so you may require another type of healer or coach or therapist. And I think there's room for
Right.
everybody, because everybody comes at it with a very unique approach. I mean, I am absolutely
Mhm.
not everybody's cup of tea or shot of vodka, and I'll own that for sure, for sure. The
Love that.
people who really resonate with me are the people who are like, give it to me straight, no bullshit, here we go. And that's my MO. That's what I'm known for. I'm also, for the people who are a little bit more delicate, known as being a little too brassy, bitchy, and blunt. So BBB, it's okay. I don't mind. I own that too. Because I realize that people who don't want BBB may want your flavor of what you bring forward. So I love that
Mhm.
there are so many different directions and languages and ways to get back to the truth of who we really are at our core essence.
Yep.
So I really value that you bring that forward and say, if you can just stick through it, you're going to get there. If somebody has never experienced or understands why working the combination of intuitiveness and energetic rebalancing through a modality such as Reiki, is there a
Mhm.
way that you can sort of describe why to you this feels like a really good match?
Why combining them feels like a really good match.
Yes,
The
yes.
s- so for me, there was an aha moment when I understood the how. So a lot of what I bring to my clients is don't worry about the how and don't worry about the why. Just we're going to approach decisions and the next steps and challenges. We're going to approach it a little bit differently without worrying about the how does it actually happen? We're just going to worry about the tools that we use to get to that point. But for me, as a scientist, my aha moment came with, oh, this is how it works. This is how this particular energy works with this particular situation. This is how energy works together. It either resonates or dissonates, or it creates a like a flat line either way, but there's a way that frequencies work with each other to almost create this harmony, right? But for me, it was that aha moment because it made sense to me. So my background is in, like I said, everything body wise, chemistry, anatomy, physiology, all the physical sciences. But I also have this part of me that everything else makes sense too, even if I can't explain it. So having that science background, I came from a mom who was pre-med and my dad was an engineer, and everything was mapped out. Everything was, if you couldn't explain it, it wasn't a thing. So you had to be able to explain it to make it logical, to make it practical, to make it something that made sense to somebody else. And it's almost like I grew up thinking that that was my responsibility to explain it all in order to be interested in it. It's almost like I had to defend it scientifically in order to want to move in that direction, to make it okay. And I know they would have supported me, and they still do, in whatever I do. But I kind of had this mindset, I want to be able to explain what I'm doing so that then other people, like my clients, can have their aha moments when it clicks, when they understand how this is all fitting together. Then you can build on that and you can expand on that. Whereas if you just have the tools and you know that this gets you from point A to point B, but you don't know how, you can't necessarily think outside the box and make it your own as a tool. When you can explain it and kind of give this connects to this and this connects to this, then you or your clients can then say, oh, but what if we connected it this way? This feels better for me. Could I still get those results? And then we get to play with, well, absolutely you can, because energetically that fits better with the energetics of your personal situation. And let's look at how now we can kind of reshape the tools to make them work for you and make them tap into your superpower. So that's how I think that the science works. Sometimes it just gives people that extra, I guess, set of guidelines, set of parameters, so that then you can know where they are and take those guidelines and parameters away and make your own.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really beautiful the way you're describing this. It's interesting because like you, I'm the spiritual science geeky girl. I really like to discuss the connection between science and spirit, that bridge
Mhm,
between here we are human in a 3D environment. I like to call it Earth School.
mhm.
And yet we are divine sparks of
I
love
love
from
that.
universe, right? So we are this
Yes.
combination of a
Yeah.
spiritual essence and soul being that's residing in a human body, having a human experience in a 3D world. And yet there's so much more than our 3D. And that is that link between the seen
Right.
and the unseen, the known and the maybe I'm not sure about it. And there is absolutely, for those who
Yep.
are like, prove it to me, sure, if you want to, there's lots of actual scientific physical proof about how is energy
Mhm.
stored, where is it stored,
Yep.
what's associated with it, vibrational information, frequency information, why when you say I don't feel
Yep.
right, this doesn't feel good, what is that dissonance or that out of balance or out of alignment really mean? And it's sort of, to put it simple, think about a staticky radio station versus a clear radio station. It's kind of that sort of a
Mhm.
thing. And to be able to share that information with your clients in a way that they don't need to be an engineer. I kind of giggled as you were describing
Right.
your
Right.
family upbringing, because I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm the daughter of an engineer. I so get it." My dad was
Yeah.
so very much in the 3D, like if you couldn't prove it, it didn't exist, and there was no room for
Right.
anything else. And my mother was this little Scottish woman who, she didn't talk about it much, but she was definitely from the belief of things beyond this world, the fairies and intuitiveness
Mhm.
and psychic things. And, as kids, we'd be like, oh my God, how does she know these things? But she did. So I kind of feel
Yeah.
I was sort of gifted
You had
this
the best of both
little bit of
worlds, it
everything,
seems
right?
like.
Little bit of this,
Yeah.
little bit of that. So I really love that you bring all of this together, because I really feel like if you want to have a sense of real aligned wellness in your life, you've got to not ignore the fact that you're in a human body. So you need to address the physical.
Uh-huh.
But the
Yeah.
reality is you're a soul in a human body. So therefore you need to dress the spiritual and the emotional. We all know that
Mhm.
energy is stored in your cells. Your emotions are stored in your cells. So therefore, if you can address on a cellular level and address the
Yep.
energetics level, then you're providing a win-win to the client, really. So
Right.
it's a
Yep.
beautiful,
I
beautiful way to bring it forward. Yeah. Really, really good.
thank you.
Yeah.
And this this excites me so much, this partnership between the science and those people who you're like, there's nothing else, it's just this, then that's a bummer because there's more out there. Just because we can't explain it doesn't mean it's not a thing. But I'm actually looking into my doctorate in bioenergetics. The so my next I guess my next chapter is going to be piecing together the exact how, so that not that I can dumb it down for people, but I can basically sum it up on a
Mhm.
non-sciencey
Yeah.
level, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. So
It
that's
sure
that's
does.
that's my next challenge, and I am so excited to bring that type of understanding, at least even if it's just one little thread of
Yes.
connection between the two. Maybe that's what I get to do as a hopefully potential doctor of bioenergetics. But to what you were saying, my mom used to, she still kind of does come to me and say, it's not a thing, right? But would you give me some coaching tips on XYZ and why I'm feeling this? So I think you have to be just very solid, I guess, in your not commitment, but belief that there is something greater and that there is actually a connection. So that when people close to you come to you and say, well, that's not really a thing,
It's not a thing, but
but
would you
can
help
you,
me?
yeah, yeah.
Right? Right? If you didn't think that it
I
was a
almost find
thing,
it
then you
funny at
wouldn't
this
be
point.
asking me for the help, but it's okay. Oh
Mhm.
my gosh, it just cracks me
Yeah,
up.
it's
So
okay.
it's okay. It's all good. So,
Yeah.
and again, I think what you're seeing with your clients is exactly a piece of how do I show up for myself in my own business. Is I use various modalities to help people find their own level of aligned wellness through pieces of divine timing. And to put it super simply,
Mhm.
I use a lot of information about how people are brought to the earth, when they're brought to the earth, through their birth dates, through what we call numerology, which is basically the science of
Mhm.
transformation in a nutshell. And through that,
Yep.
it allows me to sort of help people see these are my gifts. This is how I tend to move through the world, so that when you take that information, then people can have a different level of self awareness. And I think what
Mhm.
you shared with your clients brings them to, again, a level of self-awareness. In
Yeah.
it's basically all the same destination coming through different entrance ways. Like different
Right. Right.
entrances into the concert venue, where you at gate A, B, C, or D, but y'all get to the concert eventually. So, yeah. And I think that's what
Yeah.
all of us here in these circles, I think that's our goal, is to try to have people come to the place where they see the value of who they are, how they are, as they are, not in some
Absolutely.
perceived image of who they think they need to be based on everything else around them. And
Yeah.
I think that's why we all receive that information in a way that makes sense to each of us in our own way. So I think the combination
Yeah.
that you're coming in
Absolutely.
with is phenomenal. And the sciencey piece of me is like, oh my gosh,
Thank you.
bioenergetics. I could talk about this for hours. So I love that.
Yeah, you and me both.
Right? I love it. It's great, and you'll be amazing. So this is really, really terrific.
Thank
So
you.
for now, until you become Dr. Bioenergetics, which I'm sure will be heading down the pike soon, tell us, where can people
Right.
tap in to find you, to have a little bit more conversation about how you can help them walk a little piece of the journey with them. I kind of like to call it hold their hand for a few steps until they can walk on their own. And where do
Absolutely.
people find you?
Well, I have a website where you can easily find me, and just we can set up just a meet and greet, because if I'm not a good fit for somebody, they're not going to be able to hear my reframing. They might not hear the aha moment that a coach that would be a better fit might provide for them. So I always do a meet and greet. I never just dive in with a client. But all of that scheduling stuff is on my website, which is Hillary Wolfe, Wolf with an E, Reiki.com. I have a YouTube channel. I'm not as consistent as I want to be, because I like to play with meditations and how can we get our brainwaves to, as they're shifting from alpha brainwave state to theta brainwave state, what type of suggestions can we start to embody through meditation that can then help us move forward on our next step of the journey. So that's kind of what my YouTube channel entails. At this point, I'm still working on kind of getting out there onto more stages, onto more platforms, essentially, just so to keep this conversation going. I love this type of conversation about consciousness and what's available, and how can we move from point A to point B, and instead of feeling stuck, how can we start to expand and really get everything we want for ourselves in this existence. I'm still working on expanding that conversation, but right now it's just kind of through my website. Just
I think
come
that's
find me, let's
perfect.
chat, let's talk
Yeah.
about what's next.
I
Yeah.
think it's great. And every ripple starts with a single pebble in the pond, right? It's not like you drop a boulder in the pond.
Exactly.
It starts with a single pebble
Yes,
and it will make
true.
its way out to the edges. And it's the
Yep.
same with this. I started this podcast about a year ago, last November. No clue, no clue, no clue. And I just feel so strongly about sharing this message of,
Mhm,
you have this life, make it the best. And let's
mhm.
stop telling ourselves all the crap, and let's just cut to the chase and value that
Yeah.
each of us is a valuable human and a very valuable soul, and our souls all know each other. It's just that our humans are
Yep.
having a little bit of a hitch
Absolutely.
here. So the modalities, the tools, and all the things that we bring to the table are just in the effort to
That
help the
that
human
is true.
get along so you can really maximize the
Yes.
journey. Have fun with the
Yep.
journey, and walk on home to where you know you
Absolutely.
are. Yeah.
Well,
Well, Hillary, thank you, my friend. Thank you. This has been so fun. So good.
it
And I
has.
can't
Thank you.
wait.
Thank you. This is
Yeah,
a great way to wake up in the morning,
it
talk
is.
about all this fun stuff.
It sure is. So I'll put
I
everything up
love
in the
it.
show notes for you. We'll get this rocking out. And we'll have to do
Perfect.
another episode when you're a little further into your bioenergetics, because I'm going to pick your brain. I'm definitely going to pick your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Heck
going to be
yeah.
fun. Cool. All right, everybody. That's
I
a
just have
wrap
to
for
figure
another
out what
episode.
my
Yeah.
focus is going to be. But
Oh, that's all right. You're gonna find that. It'll find you. You won't even have to look for it. It'll just show up and find you, and you'll know it, and it'll be great. Perfect.
exactly. That's what we do. We
That's what we
trust divine
do.
timing.
There it is.
Yep.
All right, everybody, that's a wrap for another episode here. Join me next week, and we'll do it again. Have a great day, everyone.